my name is Mary, and in today's video I'll be sharing with you a nonfiction micro-review of Aloha Rodeo, 3 Hawaiian Cowboys, the World's Greatest Rodeo, and a Hidden History of the American West by David Wolman and Julian Smith. In this book, Wolman and Smith bring to life the stories of Ikawa Purdy, Jack Lowe, and Archie Kaua, who were 3 Hawaiian pañuelos, or cowboys, who participated in the 1908 rodeo at Cheyenne, Wyoming. Now, most people who live in the mainland United States would not think of Hawaii as, typically speaking, likely cattle country. The majority of those islands are covered in either dense, verdant jungle or lava rock fields, which doesn't make it exactly prime grazing ground. But there has been a tradition of Hawaiian cowboys working on the islands since before what we typically think of as the American Southwest frontier, at least dating to the very early 19th century. This book captured my attention from the first. So, in my current academic studies, I study European history, especially medieval and 19th century European history. But I actually have a research background in 19th century Hawaiian history. It's what I did a lot of my senior thesis work on. And when you study the Hawaiian history, there's a lot that's said about the things that Westerners, especially Americans and British people, brought to Hawaii to try to civilize people on the Hawaiian Islands. One of those things that I knew of, but didn't know a whole lot about, were cattle. I think Wolman and Smith do a really good job of bringing together all the different threads that make this story so interesting. For example, you not only learn about Hawaiian cattle ranching history, but you'll also learn about the history of cattle ranching in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and about how the rodeo came about after the American Southwest frontier closed. Further, you'll also get a really nice little biography of each of these men, but also their mentor, who was the one who put them up to participating in this rodeo. It gives you a really good sense of the kind of community that was developing, especially among pañuelos, who were usually ardent Hawaiian nationalists, people who did not want to be annexed to the United States. And so it also ties into that legacy of imperialism, which led to Hawaii being declared a territory and, in the next 50 years, a state. I don't want to take away too much of the reading experience of this book, because I do think that part of the joy of it is that the story is extremely unexpected if it's not something that you're already familiar with. If you have any inclination to study Hawaiian history, I think this might be a good place to start, just on a fun kind of story, because it does introduce so many different threads of Hawaiian history and incorporates them so that you'll be able to follow whatever threads you personally think of as being particularly interesting. So instead of summarizing the rest of the book, I will instead do what I hope to do in a lot of these nonfiction micro-reviews, which is to leave you with a little tidbit, my favorite fact that I learned from this book. My favorite fun fact that I learned in this book is that since horses and cattle were introduced in the early 19th century, the traditional Hawaiian saddle has not been made of leather, but rather of wood. It has been carved just like traditional Hawaiian boats were, and in doing so, it enabled the saddle to be much more water resistant, or at least less expensive to make a new one, because part of traditional Hawaiian cattle ranching is making the cattle swim over the reefs and out to the boats, where they would be taken to other islands or to the mainland. If anything that I've said so far has piqued your interest in this particular book, I will leave links to where you can find out more down below. You'll also find all of my social media information if you want to get in contact and talk Hawaiian history. Thank you very much for watching. Bye!